Welcome back. In this video, we're going to solve by factoring when a does not equal 1. And there's no greatest common factor. See, 5 will not go into 13. So, for this, we'll use the AC method. We'll multiply our a times our c, and that'll be 5 times 8 is 40. Remember, these are quadratic, so that's a, b, c. So we need factors of 40 that are going to combine to give us our middle term, b. Our b is 13. So we want to keep that in mind as we list our factors. So we'll just start out with this lowest number that goes into 40. 40 divided by 1 is 40. Then 40 divided by 2 is 20. That's not going to give me 13. I'll move up to 4. 40 divided by 4 is 10. That doesn't help. 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. Hey, I can add those and get 13. So let's see, that's a positive, so I've got a positive AC, so that means they will have the same signs to get that positive. Okay, and if we're trying to get a positive middle term, then we're going to go for this combination where they're both positive. So positive 5, positive 8. And what we're going to do with that is replace our middle term with these two. And that gives us 4 terms, so we can factor by grouping. So we just bring down the first term. We replace 13x with 5x and 8x. We need those x's because we're supposed to get 13x. So 5x and 8x is 13x. So that part checks out. So you bring down your first term, replace 13x with 5x and 8x, and then bring down your last term. So now we have our 4 terms. We're going to group those in 2's. Out of the first 2 terms, we can take out a 5x. Okay, so we'll park that on the outside of parentheses. Here we'll divide, the 5's cancel. With variables, remember we subtract the exponent, so that'll be x to the 2 minus 1 or x to the first. And then anything divided by itself is just 1. 5x divided by 5x is 1. Okay, if this sign is positive, then that's what you park in the middle. And we're going to be taking out a positive 8 out of both of those terms. And then 8x divided by 8 will just be x, and 8 divided by 8 is 1. Now we see we have matching binomials, so we're going to factor out the x plus 1, park our GCF in front, and then in the second set of parentheses, I like to put what's left. So when we take out x plus 1, we're left with 5x. Here, if we take out x plus 1, we're left with 8. And you could change the order. You could make it 5x plus 8 times x plus 1. Now that we have our factors, we want to set each factor equal to 0, because if our answer is supposed to be 0, one of those must have been 0. We had to have been multiplying by 0 to get 0. So we'll set x plus 1 equal to 0 or 5x plus 8 equal to 0. So we've got 2 little equations we're going to solve. On the left, we'll take away 1, and that'll be x is equal to negative 1. And over here on the right, we'll take away 8. That'll be 5x equals negative 8. And then we'll divide both sides by 5. And our answer is negative 8/5. Okay, so both of these answers are correct. In number 2, we have 2m squared minus 9m minus 35. Again, I do not have a GCF, so that lets me know I'm going to have to use the AC method. So that will be 2 times negative 35 is negative 70, and our b is negative 9. Oops. So we need factors of negative 70 that are going to combine to give us negative 9. So we'll just start out small. 70 divided by 1 is 70. That's not going to give us 9. We'll try 2. 70 divided by 2 is 35. Nope. Let's see. 4, 5. 5 goes. 70 divided by 5 is 14. If we add or subtract those, can we get 9? If we subtract them, and that's what we need since we have a negative AC, our factors are going to be different, and we're going for subtracting. So if our middle term is negative, then our large number needs to be negative. So we're going to make that a negative 14 and a positive 5. And that will give me negative 9. So remember, we bring down our first term. We replace the middle term with our new factors that we found. We're going to turn them into terms. So that'll be plus 5m and then minus 14m. That will give us the negative 9 we need. And then we'll bring down the negative 35. And that equals 0 is just along for the ride till the end. Okay, so now I'm going to group these in twos. So I'm going to look at the first two, and my greatest common factor would be m. So I'll pop that on the outside of parentheses, and then 2m squared divided by m is 2m. Here the m's cancel, and I'm left with 5. If this sign is negative, that's what you're taking out. So we're going to be taking out a negative out of both of these. And out of 14 and 35, the biggest number that we can take out would be 7. So we're going to take out negative 7. So remember, we are dividing by a negative. So negative 14 divided by negative 7 is positive 2m. Negative 35 divided by negative 7 is positive 5. Okay. And now they both have a 2m plus 5, so we're going to pull that out. And then we're left with m. And over here we're left with the minus 7. Okay, now either 2m plus 5 equals 0 or m minus 7 equals 0. On the left, we'll subtract 5 from both sides. That'll be 2m equals negative 5. And then we'll divide both sides by 2 and get m is negative 5/2. So that's one of our answers. Over here, we'll just add 7, and that'll be m is equal to 7. So our answers are negative 5/2 or 7. Okay, number 3, I have 49x squared minus 64 equals 0. Not a GCF for that one. When we have two terms and it's a difference, check to see if the coefficients are perfect squares. To get 49, we could say 7 times 7, so that's a perfect square. And then 64, we could say 8 times 8, and that would be 64. So we do have perfect squares. And remember, our rule is a squared minus b squared equals a plus b, a minus b. So what do we square to get a squared? Well, we would have to square a, so that's in both parentheses. What do we square to get b squared? B. So put that in each set, and then one's a plus and one is a minus. And that ensures you don't have a middle term, because when you're distributing, you get a times a is a squared. And then you have a times negative b, which is negative ab, plus ab, which is 0. And then b times negative b is negative b squared. So we're going to use this rule to factor this. So for 49x squared, what do we square to get 49x squared? Well, that would have to be 7x. And then what do we square to get 64? Well, we said that was 8. And remember our rule, one is a plus, one is a minus. And so either 7x plus 8 equal to 0, or 7x minus 8 equals 0. So over here we'll take away 8 and get 7x equals negative 8. Divide by 7. We have negative 8/7 for one of our exact answers. Over here we'll add 8. That'll be 7x equals 8. Divide both sides by 7, and x equals positive 8/7. Hey, we could use a little shortcut on that and say our answer is positive or negative 8/7. But we don't have to. And that is solved by factoring when your A is not 1. Have a great day.